Let's see here. Live Instagram.
Hello, Instagram.
Live on Facebook, and you.
We're just getting things going, so hang in there. We're live on all streams. All right. Give a few minutes or seconds for people to join. Hope everyone's doing well on a Monday morning or afternoon. Just getting the streams up and letting people join. So this is our 13th 034 Motorsport live chat. Quarantine edition. So hopefully the show goes well because 13, I guess it's good luck if you want it to be. So yeah, we're here to answer questions and to talk about anything you guys want.
Tommy already wants to buy my wheels, so you'll be able to buy them soon. I don't know which wheels you're referring to because I just got the ZTF wheels on there.
Maybe he wants the Westlake.
We will have those available, so you can buy them very soon.
So we're here to answer any questions. Certainly anything 034 related, automotive related, anything you've ever wanted to know. Ask us the most controversial automotive question you can think of. We'll be happy to answer it honestly and accurately.
Not silver.
We don't really talk about paint colors. There's plenty of people doing that, and we don't have much to add to that. So, and as always, if you hear us say or talk about anything you don't understand, please ask for a clarification. Yep. And also feel free to Google anything we're talking about. I'm sure there's more information out there. We're not going to be talking about anything that nobody else knows about. This is standard automotive knowledge, from our perspective and things that we've learned over the years.
Yep.
So yeah, we've got some questions coming in.
I think people are just getting connected here still, but we got a couple coming.
Cool. Well, we got a couple to start with, so let's jump in. What are some signs you see with a bad PCV on a 3.0T?
On a 3.0T. So the PCV on those lives underneath the intake manifold, and there's a couple of things. It can be anything from a high crankcase pressure or low crankcase pressure in the crankcase. So you got to take your oil cap off, and it's at idle. It can be really stuck on there with a bunch of force to get it off. Another common sign when those fail is you'll get coolant and oil mixing. Those are kind of shared paths within that, and some of the plastic pathways can break down. And then you can also get either of those in the intake tract as well. So they can fail all kinds of ways, and none of them are good. So usually you'll see it with some frothy oil or some milky looking coolant and the oil caps, a dead giveaway.
Yeah, that's good tips, Nate. Thank you. Another great question we always like to talk about. I have my phone here, so this is where the questions are coming in. How do you reduce understeer on a Mark 7R? Well, that's a great question, and something that we've been able to very successfully improve on these cars. These cars from the factory all understeer, as most cars do. As you may already know, understeering is safer, and so if you're going into a corner with too much speed and the car loses control, it's always safer to see where you're going before you crash. And so, and certainly if you're going to hit something, you might as well hit it from the front end. You have the most protection that way. So basically all cars from the factory are designed to understeer, which means the car continues to turn despite the steering. So you put more steering in, but the car just goes straight.
Yeah,
so
you only get so much of a amount of turn basically, and then you're just going to start plowing in one direction.
So instead of the car going around the corner like this, because your steering wheel is turned like this, the car goes into the corner and just goes off the corner this way. And so regardless of how much steering you have, the car just continues to go straight. So your steering is under what it should be, understeer. And that is a safer way to crash or lose control, and it's certainly easier to regain control of a car
as long as you've got enough room after whatever you're now heading towards.
As long as you have some shoulder or runoff or a grassy field or whatever it is, going off a corner backwards is very dangerous. So and typically once your car's backwards or sideways, is you basically just put your foot on the brake, take your foot off the gas, or put your foot on the clutch, as I say, both feet in.
2 feet in.
And you just kind of pray or hope for the best. So this is kind of a cliche answer, but to reduce understeer on any MQB car, you buy all the 034 Motorsport Dynamic Plus products, and you set a high performance alignment. And so with the additional performance and the additional alignment adjustments that you get with our parts, our cars do not drive like front wheel drive cars.
No.
On the street or on the track. Our in-house RS3, our in-house GTI, our TTRS. These cars, you go into the corner and the back end steers with the car, and it's an incredible sensation. But no longer are you fighting the understeer and the push in the corners, and the car actually behaves much more like a better balanced rear-wheel drive car. The alignment's a huge part of that. You really can't achieve that type of alignment on a stock car.
Well, it's both. You can't achieve that with the stock components either in a good alignment. You can put the same alignment on with all the stock bars, and you're not going to get the same.
Well, yeah, that's true. Even if you could, but you can't.
Yeah.
So you really need the additional adjustability. And then what we do with the sway bars, we play with the weight transfer of the car. And so that's a large reason why cars push or oversteer, is how the weight transfers from the front or the back of the car as it goes into the corner. And so if the weight is in the front of the car when you go into the corner, then that's the moment of the car that's going to go that direction.
Yeah, basically, if you're out, if you've ever tracked your car or seen video of your car under heavy cornering, if it's stock, you'll see basically the whole thing's pitching over on that, whatever front tire, outside tire, and it's just working that one tire as much as it can, and then until it gives up, and that's your primary, give or go traction point.
So by changing the stiffness of the sway bars, by changing the stiffness of the springs, by lowering the center of gravity of the car, then we can adjust that weight transfer into the corner. And then with the additional alignments, what happens is on a stock alignment, you go into a corner like that and your tires go like this. Well, now your contact patch is off the road, and it's riding on the very outside edge of the tire, which ultimately folds over and you're on the sidewall now. And once that happens, the car, you lose all your traction, and the front tires lose all their grip, and the car goes with the front tires.
Those are both empty.
Exactly. Yeah. So since we're talking about it, this is our rear upper control arm for the MQB, which not only reduces the deflection or the movement of the bushings, but it allows adjustments. So because this outer link is adjustable, you can now change the camber.
Yep.
And
we've got toe links to go with it as
we have
well,
toe
so
links,
you can
so
really
change the
really
toe.
position that rear axle where you want it.
So these are some of the many parts that we offer for this chassis. But driving a properly set up MQB car is a blast, and I don't think a lot of people have experienced it. So
No.
That's something that we specialize in. Unfortunately, we can't show you a dyno sheet. We can't show you
That's
a
a tough one.
drag time.
That's more one of the ones you got to come to the track with us.
Yeah,
and go
but
for
if
some
you
rides.
if you come to the track and take a ride with us, or you have a friend who's done it, honestly, for us, a well set up, well handling car is the funnest thing you can do in a Volkswagen or Audi. More fun than drag racing.
Yeah,
or anything like
they
that.
can be these new Mark 7s can be really surprising on track.
But anyone can throw a draggy in their car and go to a road and run fast times. But to make your car turn and handle and keep the contact patch on the road as you're going through the corners, that's harder to do, and that's really what we specialize in.
I have
So
a follow-up question on that. Many folks say you should only run a rear sway bar on a GTI, but what are your thoughts on a front sway bar?
well, we do offer a front sway bar for a reason. So as we always talk about, we only bring products to the market, and we only try to convince you guys to buy them if there's a reason. And so on some of the Audi, the bigger chassis Audis like the B5, the B6, B7, B8, even the B9, we offer rear sway bar options only, because that really helps keep the weight in the back of the car as you transfer, the weight transfers into the corner, and makes the cars much more lively in the back as you go through the corner. The issue on a front-wheel drive MQB specifically, but really the RS3 TTRS is no different. These are front-wheel drive cars, and And so if you have the if you have a stock sway bar going into the corner, it allows the front suspension to lean a lot. And what happens is you lift the inside tire off the ground, and it doesn't keep the car flat. So you lose traction, and the more the car leans, the more that important outside contact patch comes off the ground. So in a front wheel drive car, you want to keep both front tires on the ground and both contact patches square on the ground. And so one of the ways you do that is certainly through camber, but a great way to do that is increase the front sway bar stiffness so that the car doesn't lean as much and the car is flatter in the front. So the MQB specifically, if you just run the rear bar, it will be more lively under trailing. So when you lift off the throttle, but if you're trying to power through the corner and accelerate through the corner, which is the fastest way to do it, then you need to upgrade the front sway bar too. So that's why in the MQB application specifically, we offer front and rear bars because you actually need it. You actually want it. In other applications like the B8, we do not because it doesn't really help that much.
Yeah.
Good questions.
Yep.
Okay, next question. What are you doing with the red Panther Motorsport race car Jetta? It's a great question. I
Yep. It's
I guess
in-
people know about this.
Yeah.
Have we been posting about it?
Yep.
We should post about it. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're we sponsor them in calibration and technical support.
That's right.
They are in for refreshing on the tune. They got a new fuel system and a new hybrid turbo on there, so we're just updating some of the files for them.
Yeah.
And getting them a little more juice to go with out there.
We're really happy with our involvement with their racing effort. One, we love to see our products on track racing, being tested and proven. And we've all actually been able to make a huge difference. The previous tuning that they had, they were constantly blowing motors.
Yeah.
And since they brought us a car with a fresh motor in it, we did the tuning on it. And I mean, is it anything special, or is it how much have you changed it from our off-the-shelf tuning?
Well, it's not an off-the-shelf in this regard. It's basically a Mark 6 KO4 file, essentially. So it's not one we offer typically. But as far as our strategy and how we tune,
It's the same.
It's pretty much the same. Yeah.
I mean, aside from the specifics,
of the car,
it's
yeah.
the same basic tuning that we do on all our cars. And they've had no engine troubles. They've been able to go and actually just drive and race, which is awesome. So for us, we do all this so that we can make a difference, so we can make an improvement, and it's a great partnership with them.
Yeah.
To not only showcase our product, we learn by the testing, and it feels good to help them as well.
Yeah,
So
that car came in with far little fueling for what it needed for boost. It was running all kinds of boost with basically open loop fueling.
Yeah.
It was kind of a scary way to run a race car around a track, and with ever changing conditions. It probably worked great for whenever it was tuned.
No surprise that we're having
motor
issues,
But they were having a rough time keeping it together.
Cool. Does a stage 1 tune affect emissions? So this is a nuanced question.
Yeah.
So we are going through the CARB approval process for our stage 1 tunes, and for basically the MQB Mark 7 application, and for the 3.0T B8 application, we have received initial approval from CARB. So as of right now, there are 49 state. We have
we have 49 state
approval
compatible
for 49
files.
states, and there's some additional. For California, there's some additional paperwork and rigmarole that we're going through to get that. But generally, so this is a qualified answer. Are all stage 1 tunes smog legal? No. Technically, any change to the factory ECU mapping, whether it affects the emissions or not, but any change to the file is not smog legal.
Right.
However,
it doesn't matter if it's better, worse, or otherwise. If you change it, you're basically off of their approved list.
But off the record, between just us and the 100 people that are watching, the emissions at the tailpipe won't change any substantive amount that will make it more pollution, more polluting.
Yeah, we don't go to any efforts or we don't go out of our way to alter that. We
No,
actually
I mean,
we
there's-
actually do
there's
everything
no
we can.
reason
Yeah,
to.
we do everything I can to make it as good or better than
Yeah.
the OEM stuff because there's no reason to make it
Yeah.
worse
And so-
when you don't need it.
So for that reason, in the two applications I just discussed, we have passed with
Yeah.
flying colors under the most rigorous emissions testing in America.
Yeah, and we specifically tested the worst combination vehicles we could
Yeah.
of the given emissions
Right.
classes, and had no problems at all getting them to pass. So
Yeah.
we're pretty happy with that.
So yeah, I mean, if you want to get more performance without increasing the pollution in your car, any of our stage 1 files are a great way to go.
Yep.
Just know that
And those are our full.
legally they may not be
Yeah.
approved,
No, they need
but-
to be approved to be approved.
and you know, we're not really changing the emissions parameters much, if at all, or we're not making them worse by any means.
Nope.
And then all your emissions controls are in place, especially your catalytic converter, which is the most important thing.
Yeah.
So the issue gets more into many of the stage 2 tunes, which remove or change the catalytic converter. None of those are legal.
Anything with a test
They
pipe
never
or a
will be.
modified catalyst is
Yeah.
not going to be legal.
And the great thing is our the files that we're getting approved, they're still like full power files.
Oh yeah,
you know,
no,
for the
there's
most part.
absolutely
Yeah.
no difference to
know
all
there's-
of our normal stage 1 stuff.
There's some other
power
tuners
lines.
on the market that offer these emissions compliance tunes, and from what I've seen, they reduce the performance of the file quite a bit.
There's-
So
there's-
we haven't
there's-
had to do that.
No, there's no
And,
need when it's done right.
Yeah, so we're pretty excited, and we'll be releasing more information about that once everything's finalized through that process.
Yeah,
but
it's in.
and we're doing the same for many of our intakes as well. So we'll soon be able to offer a fully carb legal, smog compliant ECU tune and intake package for all B8 and MQB based 2.0T and even some the 2.0T, 3.0T, and
That's it right now.
yeah. Next question: will the 3.0T platform see the new 2-step launch control features this week?
I think Nick just Control C, Control V's this one every week.
Keep getting
I'm really trying to get
I
it
think
out
it's
to you
the
guys.
people
I've
that
got a
are-
bunch of stuff. I'm also trying to keep up with support and all the normal day-to-days.
Possibly this week.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's
No
really
promise.
close now. I'm gonna do some hopefully final testing on some B8.5 stuff today.
Mhm.
I've been running it on my B8 now for a while. So yeah, no, it's testing's going well. I was just wrapping up a couple of things where basically, if you've got the transmission trying to hold the launch point and you want to go above that or around that with the 2-step version of it, I've got that in place now. So it basically overrides that. So it doesn't really matter where the transmission is trying to hold it. It'll let you launch where you want to. That's been the last tweak to the programs.
Yeah. So I mean, if you really want this and it's really stressing you out, download the TikTok app. About 2 weeks will go by, you won't even know it, and
China will have all your data.
We'll post this. All right. So there's if you like look at any of the ones, I don't know what they're called, where the girls like wake up in her pajamas and then something happens and she's like dressed up ready to go clubbing. Those will keep your attention for at least a week right there. So that's my tip right now on that. Are catch cans needed in the B8 platforms? We've talked about this before.
A4 more than
Well,
the
the
2-liter,
the
more than the 3-liter
A4
for sure.
The A4 does, so that's why we offer catch cans.
Mhm.
We've seen the issues with those. The 3.0T we haven't seen a need.
Not at all, as long as the aforementioned PCV system's working
Yeah,
correctly.
as long as all the factory stuff's in place. We've tracked our cars heavily.
Yep.
We've had customers track it, and we love developing new products, especially when there's when there's an issue that needs to be solved. We are highly motivated, and for example, the MQB needs it bad, and so we've spent a lot of development effort on that.
Yep.
But the 3.02 we haven't seen that. Is there anything we can use to data log with the 034 OBD adapter? How often are there updates to the maps? Haven't seen any updates for the 8V yet, so just curious.
Depends which 8V you've got. If we're talking 2-liter or DAZA RS3 guys, and it depends on if you're stage 1, stage 2, or what. those files have been pretty dialed in for a while now. We haven't had to really do any
We
tweaks
spent
on
a
that.
lot of time
Yeah,
flushing those out.
data logging, yes, you can data log with our cable. Email tuning at, and we can get you set up with that. We have to do it. It's licensed per VIN per vehicle. So shoot us an email, we can get you set up on that. But
Yeah.
we allow data logging. There's a couple on that car. There's another file you'll have to flash, so you get our high speed logging option enabled. But other than that, yeah, we can get you set up.
Okay, I like this question. I want to jump on this one. Open element versus closed element
Yeah.
intake for the MQB. Will the open intake heat soak faster in a hot climate versus closed? Does the underhood temperatures affect performance on the open? Okay, this I see people debating this on the groups often. I usually don't chime in because those aren't necessarily always the best place to
No.
have constructive communications. But I see a lot of people get it wrong, unfortunately. So we offer open and closed intakes. This is a closed air box. Is this the new one for the 8J?
No, that's the closed AV. Yeah.
We are releasing a closed 8J TTRS, the Gen 2 TTRS intake. So for any of you that have our intake, that we always sold that as open. But we've had many requests for a closed version, and it looks more or less like this. And so we're releasing that, I think, probably this week. But we offer the closed and open. And the only reason we really do, well, there's two reasons, but the main one is for sound. So the open intake typically is, you get more induction sound because it's not being dampened inside a closed space. The other thing about open intakes, they do something very well is because it's open, they never see the kind of vacuum or pressure drop or flow restriction that a fully closed intake will see. So, for example, there's a very popular closed intake on the market that many DAZA guys run. And the guys that really want to make power with it, they end up cutting holes in it because otherwise it becomes restrictive and it has pressure drops. A lot of them don't talk about that, but they do that. So when you have an open intake, it's I don't know, it's like take a Coke bottle and suck on it, and you can collapse it, cut the bottom off, and you won't be able to do anything. It's the same thing with the intake.
Or better yet, drill a couple small holes. You'll still suck the thing shut. But
Yeah.
you keep opening it up more and more. And
The more and more you open up, but in our case, we're cutting the whole top off. There's no top, and it's just like cutting the whole bottom off. You're not going to ever be able to suck hard enough to restrict in any way. So then the conversation invariably goes to, well, it's supposed to be a cold air intake, and so since it's open under the hood, that means it's sucking in hot air, and that destroys the performance benefit. Well, there is a performance benefit to open intakes, and yes, there is heat under the hood. However, all of our X34 intakes that are open, first off, they draw air from the front core support, which is cool frontal air from the front of the car.
Yep.
And once the car starts moving, the engine compartment becomes flooded with ambient air from outside. If it didn't, your engine would overheat. The air has to flow through the radiator and out of the engine compartment. And so we actually log these temps. And if you were idling around town, yes, you would have some air.
some slightly
temperature
warmer
problems.
temps. Yeah, right at very low speeds.
But
as soon as
once you're moving or accelerating, certainly if you're going 30, 40, 50, 70, 80, 100 miles, I mean, imagine and put your hand out the window and you can feel the air moving past the car. Well, some amount of that air is also evacuating the heat in your engine compartment. So that means that an open air intake, when the car is moving, is ingesting cool air. Most of it's coming from the front of the car.
Yeah, and that's all provided that the ducting is done well, and we maintain and actually improve all of the factory ducting for these. We have a larger plenum as well as basically a secondary upgrade for these to get even more of that fresh air to kind of bathe that open element.
Right.
So
So if you're looking for the most performance, we always, our testing shows that an open intake is the best route, and that's why we offer it for all of our intakes. Some markets, like the TUV, require a closed intake to be compliant, and so in German markets. But you can look on our product pages. Our closed air intakes, the dyno gains that we post are less because it is more closed intake is virtually always, as a general rule, it's going to be more
Yeah,
restricted.
you've got a longer flow path no matter what.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's the story. Once the car is moving, the engine compartment is not filled with hot air, and the intake is not ingesting hot air. So,
Yeah.
that's our position,
Again,
and that's
that's-
based on our testing.
Yeah, that's with our, ducts and shrouds. If you're putting a filter behind a radiator,
No.
you're going to get
Everything
hot
I'm talking about is with our
Yeah,
products. If you put a filter on a stick, I mean,
with nothing else
there's
around
one
it.
DASA intake out there. It's just a filter sitting in the engine compartment. So there's not even.
Yeah, we're talking
any
with
kind of
with the
shroud or
shrouding and shielding we have.
But
in
yeah,
place.
we do shield the bottom and the sides, and the only thing that's open is the top. So
Yep.
great question, and thank you. So
Yep.
why does my flash program hold at 100% and never say successful burn? Does that mean it's done? Should I wait?
Yeah, that's something we're working on. It's the problem with that is if there's any interruption to the basically your connection to our server mid flash, it's not the flash is going to complete just fine in almost every case, and you can tell that with you'll hear the pump cycle and the throttle body click. Once you hear those, the flash is completed and the basically the car's ready. The last step before it closes out that 100% screen is it's just reporting to the server everything's done and doing some final.
But
It should be flashed.
Yeah.
We're working on getting that more bulletproof, but it's a connection persistence issue.
yeah. Let's see. Do you make parts for the VW CeCe? Yes, we do make some. We have never
we don't
specifically
specifically
developed.
target that one.
But if you go on our website and you put in, CeCe into the model
Drop-downs, yeah.
drop down, then you will see all the products that we sell, and I do believe there's quite a number. Yeah.
Mhm.
How are the billet street sport mounts for the RS3? So we talked about this a few times, but I'll start by saying the track sports are pretty raunchy. You're gonna feel vibrations. Your car is gonna sound louder because your unibody is gonna be acting as a speaker, amplifying the sounds of your engine and transmission. But the street sports are a big improvement. We softened those up as much as we could while still maintaining a high level of function for drivetrain control and long-term reliability. And so, I could live with the street sports. I'm in my mid 40s and I'm not looking for loud, raunchy, rattle trap cars. I would not want to daily drive the track sports, but the street sports I could live with. And honestly, once the car is moving, once you're at speed, you don't really feel them. There is a resonance in the RPM band that you will pass through, and that just means that whatever frequency the engine is vibrating at is the resonant frequency of the mounts, and so those two combine to create a very short. I mean, if you sat at that RPM, you'd feel it for a long time, but if you're just driving or accelerating, you'll go through that very quickly, and then you'll feel it more at idle. And on the DSG cars, you'll feel it, when you go into a reverse, and just as you go into drive and you start accelerating when the DSG engages, there's a small vibration there too. But they're not bad. They're definitely more NVH than factory mounts. Factory mounts are like riding on a cloud of air.
A variable cloud of air that then eventually rains out its fluid.
Yeah, but if you actually saw how much your engine was moving around, and once you put the street sports in, you're going to feel that acceleration hitting your tires sooner and quicker, and with a more direct connection to your drivetrain.
Yep.
So we think they're a great option. I mean, as far as power and performance, they're not limited in any way. You could do full 1,500 horsepower drag car on our street sports. Of course, if you're at that level, we recommend the track
stuff. Yeah,
but if the NVH is a concern, they're definitely not bad. So the Malakas have done a review on the street sports, and all the information's out there. So we're very open. The last thing we want you guys is to buy these mounts and then be shocked by what you see. So we try to be pretty upfront, and on our product pages we have why would you get track sport, why would you get street sport, and kind of some of the reasons there. So
and then if you really want, we've got basically retrofit kits to go either way. You can get
Yeah,
you can get our
we do have retrofit
street sport version if you bought the track sport, so you can change over and
Yep.
vice versa.
Yeah. So we just swap the base out.
Yep.
Let's see. More ZTF wheel sizes coming soon. B8, yes. So we do have more sizes, and we're actually starting to get some traction with the sizes that we've released so far, which is very exciting for us. Our goal with these ZTF wheels is to offer curated, artisanal, organic fitting wheels for specific Audi applications. So for the Daza platform, we specifically have a wheel for the TTRS and RS3, and it's 18 by 9.3. We have a 19 by 9.3 coming.
Yep.
So we could have gone 8.5. We could have gone 9. We can't go 9.5, but we were able to get an extra 0.34 inches, poetically enough.
Right.
So so that's why they're 9.3 wide, and they do allow the most tire. They don't need any spacers. They don't need any hub-centric adapters. They're designed for the RS3. They fit perfectly. They're fully forged, lightweight wheels, and they're very price competitive, especially once you start comparing features.
Yep.
Our wheels are a great value. They're not cheap, but they're a great value. If you're looking for the best quality wheel for your Daz or RS3, then our 18 or 19 by 9.3 are in our opinion, they are the wheel to get. 19-inch are about a month or two out, and we have 18-inch in stock. We will be releasing the B8 B9 wheel,
Yep.
which is
It's on our B8 right now.
19 by
Yep.
19 by 9.3 ET35, and we spent like months moving the wheel in and out and testing tires and seeing what we could fit. We've tracked these wheels extensively. The B9 wheel that we're about to come out with has been on our car for quite a while. We have them on our B8 now.
Yep.
And we have some local customers, driving around with these wheels too. We're looking into other sizes, so if you have any special requests, please let us know. We're looking at SQ5 fitments in B8 and B9. Some other applications as well, but specifically what we have coming is the 19-inch Daza wheel and the B8 B9 19-inch wheel. I think that's what we have.
I think that 19 also fits AJ. The Dazzle. It's AJ TKR.
Oh, does it? Have we tried that?
Tested.
Oh, okay, great. So it even fits the HJ cars. So yeah, because those have similar geometry.
Yep.
Okay.
Do the Mark 7s have a wheel?
Yes. So the Mark 7 GTI, we have the 18 by 8.5. That's also on the site in stock, ready to ship.
Yeah, GTI, Golf R.
And we're looking at doing a 19-inch, but we'd like to get more feedback. That's obviously a real competitive place in the market. There's lots of wheels out there, and generally the Mark 7 guys are more price sensitive. So we are looking at a line of flow form wheels as well. So low pressure cast.
Yep.
We won't ever release a cast wheel because we're just not gonna do that. But we've had good experiences with low pressure cast, although they do bend, they do fail.
It's a little different.
We literally haven't had one issue. I mean, we've been testing our forged wheels for almost 2 years and tried to break them and bend them.
Mark's tried really hard.
Yeah. So to Gary, there's a
also
picture
tried very
of
hard,
Gary, like the TTRS is sideways in the air after launching off a berm.
Yeah, catching a curve.
And that was the first forged ZTF wheel we tested.
Yeah, that had been on the car. That's the first one
we
we
just
had
took it
for
off.
about a week. It literally came in from the factory.
Yeah,
went to
that's right.
SEMA and then
Yeah,
jumped
that
the
was
curve.
SEMA 2 years ago. So, all right. Let's see. What is in the teaser that the Malacca Motorsports guys posted?
They just posted the video, right?
Oh, it's posted. So go to Malacca Motorsports channels.
YouTube channel.
Check out their Snapchat, TikTok, Tinder pages.
Yep.
And you can see what it's all about.
I think it's this one, subframe restoration.
Ah, okay. So they're restoring their B5, and we have an extensive B5 catalog. So they've employed many of our B5 products, and they've done a great job. It's like silver inception, silverception. So, Update on the release of the B8S4 intake and throttle body. I guess that's the weekly update.
It's, yeah, everybody's pinging every week. The intake's going to be definitely before the throttle body.
The intake's coming.
Yeah.
It's in production. And I don't know. We'll probably be releasing that in about 6 weeks, maybe, just as a rough estimate.
Yep.
The throttle body, we're still finalizing some.
We're waiting
we're
for
actually
casting
working on-
sample stuff. Yeah.
We're getting. We've initiated the casting process, and so yes, we're waiting for a first article. So
Yep.
we're probably like 3 months out on that,
Mhm.
given how long these things take. So, but again, as always, hang in there. We believe it will be the best option on the market, combined with our tuning. There'll be no funny business, no tricks or band-aids to get it to work. Again, I recommend TikTok. So, just kind of
Bide your time.
bide the time out. Yeah. Do you recommend TCU tuning with stage 1 on B8S4?
Yes. Both B8, definitely B8.5. B8, well, and I guess it depends if your mech unit was ever replaced on your B8. The reason I'm saying that is the B8.5's got a much lower rev range than the B8s. So they were shifting at like 6,400 on those. B8s would let you go up to 7. Our TCU tunes go above and beyond that, but then you also get our variable launch control on all of our TCU tunes.
Yep.
You get much better clutch holding and faster shifting. So yeah,
Definitely recommend it.
it's one of those things that's not required, but it's almost as much of a change as the ECU software as well that you're going to feel in the car.
No, we definitely recommend it. We again have released it for a reason. There's tons of great benefits even on stage 1. So, this is a good question. What are both of your dream cars? Which cars would you like to own?
God.
Nate, Renault R5
No.
restoration project.
That was an old nightmare. I
I'd
really
like to
don't
hear
know.
Nate's answer.
I don't know because I'm all over the place. I'm really lucky that I get to bounce between a ton of different cars right now and kind of play with them all.
Neither of us are starved for.
We're really
cool cars,
spoiled
so,
in that way.
yeah.
So yeah.
Cost no object.
I haven't really thought about what would be a car that I'd lust after or shop. So I'm gonna maybe pitch to you to go, and I'll think about it a little more.
So I can go 2 directions, and let's just keep it to like road legal street cars, because like IMSA GTO.
Oh sure, yeah, I'd take one of those and just to experience it and listen to it all day.
Any kind of car, but so I'd say for street cars, I would go 2 ways. I would go an older vintage route, which would be a Sport Quattro. This is the factory Audi homologation car.
You're gonna have to turn the key to start it, though.
I know. This is the reason I need 2 directions.
Hang up now.
Wait, do those have Bluetooth?
Nope.
Okay. Well, anyways, this is all hypothetical. It does for the phone, just for phone.
No
calls.
music.
So the to me, if I could have that in my garage and I could drive it, go on for Sunday drives, take it to the track every once in a while. But I'd say like right now, today, if I could just go to a dealership and pick up a car, I'd say it would be basically, the newest version of the Porsche Turbo. So like the 992 Turbo or GT2 variants. I mean, I think those as far as like money and performance, it's kind of the epitome of what you can get in a car these days. And it is kind of it's just a hyper car. They're like $200,000.
Yeah,
$250,000, but it's they should be $1 million for what you get. So I think that's up there on my list.
Yeah, mine. Again, I'm not locked in on anything here. That's definitely up there. I'm kind of if it were no option and could be as ridiculous as possible, I like the activeness that you're getting now in all these hypercars and these like basically morphable cars as you're driving either on the street or the track, where you've got active aero, active brakes, active.
I'm just trying to imagine myself driving through my neighborhood in a $2 million exec.
Right. So yeah,
basically, I would just get sued before I got home.
My brain instantly goes towards the McLarens or the Koenigseggs or the top end Porsche stuff or the
I mean, the McLarens are cool. They're just so buggy, and a lot of them have issues.
That's kind of what I like them though. It's like too much tech and too much.
Yeah. But the Porsche is just like, it's as reliable as a GTI, but it can compete with those cars, So it's just wow.
GTI.
That's our intake. Yeah. That's the sound you get from our intake. So yeah, great question.
But yeah, sorry, I
Nick,
don't have a
did
more
you have-
concrete answer on that one. We get to play with too many cars every day. So
But dude, Lancia Delta Integral 1 or 2.
like the original.
yeah, but you could fit in one of those. I couldn't fit in one of those. So yeah,
Like, I've
Nick,
driven one there. You can get them for 45 grand, and it's like an Italian GTI. So it's
There
gonna
you
be
go.
more than
So
your
Nick's
feet are
in-
like 3 feet to the side. And you're sitting.
Delta Integral rally car,
that. No,
or
they
they have the
street
homologation
road.
street. Yeah, right. Okay. Well, I think my Sport Quattro would beat your Lancia, but
But the air that.
no. Well, no, not the street cars. They don't.
Oh, it depends if the speedo works or not. They kind of.
All right, let's see. How much improvement would your front control arm kit with your upgraded tie rods do for a B5, B5.5 S4? Well, sorry, B8,
Yeah.
B8.5 S4. It depends how
Yeah.
how
What do you
bad a
start?
shape-
What are you starting
Yeah.
with?
So if your stock ones are trashed and loose and blown out, which is pretty common, it'll be magical.
Yeah.
If you have brand new factory suspension on your car, there will be some noticeable difference. The upper arms will make a big difference because you can adjust your camber. So if you want to get more camber or you want to correct your camber, we have two options. We have the track spec, which gives you more camber, and we have the what are they called?
Just adjustable cover, the adjustable upper
camber
control arm kit,
correcting.
the camber correcting kit. There you go.
Camber correcting and track spec. Camber correcting allow you to bring your tires out, track spec in. So by optimizing your alignment, you'll see a huge improvement. But our lower arms do feature our density rubber. It's as stiff as we can make them with by keeping the reliability. Something to keep in mind: we are coming out with a fully spherical lower arm kit. There is some additional NVH, but it transforms the steering feel of the car. And right now, when you turn the steering wheel, all those rubber bushings just kind of squish and work against your steering inputs. So once you go fully spherical, I mean, every steering input translates
razor
directly.
sharp, yeah.
So there is some additional NVH, but man, it's and we've had a set on Nate's car. I think we showed them off 2 shows ago.
Yeah, those are 3 years old, I think.
Yeah,
4
we
years old.
beat the heck out of those. They have like 20, 30,000 miles.
A lot of life on them.
Yeah, so those are coming soon. We're just doing some machining on them right now. So
Yep.
Are your stud kits safe?
So I read that first as, are your stud kits kid safe? So it's like, what?
Dad life.
Yeah.
Some of our kids are studs.
I would not
but-
give one to my son.
Yes, our stud kits are safe. We would not sell them if they weren't safe. I have never heard of anyone
We beat the
being
crap
hurt
out of them. Yeah.
or having any kind of incident or
If you
issue.
throw
with
them at someone, it's gonna hurt.
So I
You
kind of
torque them to 1,000,000 foot-pounds.
if you're incorrectly using them and going outside of every spec and fastener usage,
I don't know if you want to do a follow up and ask them why they're.
yeah, well,
asking,
it'd
but-
be interesting to see why that question
Yes,
popped up.
they're definitely safe. We would we make a couple bucks every time we sell them.
Yeah,
It's not worth, hurting anybody or any kind of a liability, for that. So, but we are coming out with new studs that will be replacing the ones we sell currently.
Yep.
They will be an even higher quality motorsport style stud.
Yeah, it's
They'll
mostly
have
just
the-
changing the geometry on it.
They'll have the centering feature, so
Bullet
that
nose.
the bullet nose thread centering feature, which many of the racing studs do. So,
Yep.
we're probably a month or two out.
No, we run them on all of our cars.
I run our studs on every car that I drive, and I have to, because if I'm not going to run it, I wouldn't let you guys run it either. So, let's see. Possible to make crackles louder on B8S4 tune.
This is the constant juggle. They were too loud for a while.
Some people think they're too loud.
They were.
Can we
now
just
they're
put a
not.
knob on the dash?
No,
I just like the
Volume
crackles.
knob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cack, 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 cack.
I think we just need to sell a little Bluetooth. stereo.
It popped up. I'll look at it. It is louder right now at idle because most people are showing that off. And then I tamed it down for driving. I can look at bumping that back up. It's kind of this yo-yo.
Well, depends. I mean, maybe you could put a couple different files on the server.
I don't want to put any more files on the server.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, literally for one box code for the B8.5, I have 100.
We need like a decoder ring for the files, or a decoder calculator app.
Yeah, and that's the challenge. Is I've got there's other requests coming in for different idle speeds, different it's tough to make everybody happy to the every little detail. So we try and cover as much as we can.
Someone's asking, did I miss the discussion about camber arms? I'd love to see an MQB camber and tow arm package.
So that we have MQB camber.
We should
products.
offer a package called camber tow.
Yeah, yeah.
That'd be cool. Yes, you probably. Nick just got.
Nick just quit.
We should. We did discuss it. It sounds like you missed it.
When do we release the steering knuckles?
We don't currently have a package, but all the parts are on our website. So we offer the rear upper arm and the rear camber toe adjustments for the rear, and we offer.
And we have our upper camber mounts.
We have the camber plates for the front. So if you bought all those 3 parts, you would be able to.
Yeah, and that
more
all goes
camber.
back to if you rewatch the beginning of this video, we talked quite a bit about alignment settings and adjustments for these MQBs. We're getting, on most typical track day setups, we're getting really nice tire wear, very good vehicle dynamics,
Really good tire wear, actually.
So things that you don't typically see on a
Yeah, so
Volkswagen or Audi
you,
on track.
when you have the right track alignment set up, your tires last longer, your car goes faster, everything's better. I think a lot of people don't know, about alignments and what it can actually do. But you can win and lose races in racing based on one small alignment adjustment.
Yep.
So it's literally the thing that keeps your.
It's what makes it all work. Yeah.
All right. So yes, check out our website. If you'd like us to put a package together, we'd be happy to. Just email contact@034 Motorsport, one of our
No guarantees on what
customer
we'll call
service
it.
reps. Yeah. And we have. Okay, what can I do to upgrade my Mark IV VR6? Well, the car or the engine, I don't know. Put your car into our website. You can see all the products that we have available. We do have some tunes for those. There's not a lot you can do for power. I mean, you could maybe squeeze another 10 or 20
not easily.
horsepower.
Yeah, those are tricky.
But it's not easy, and we do still have quite a few suspension and chassis parts for those cars, so go check that out. Let's see, variable launch coming for the 3.0 with ZF.
That gets tricky because it's you have to rely on the transmission completely releasing the clutches to be able to go above and where the transmission wants to hold it. So that's not probably going to be something we're adding right away.
We'll keep looking.
I may look into it and do a little more trickery with the TCU but right now it's primarily going to be DSG and manual.
Yeah. But we do have a ZF8 transmission file.
Yeah.
And a really great ECU file. So you can still get all that, and we'll keep working on the development. No guarantees, but those cars launch pretty great. Just with the automatic transmission, it holds the power, and then there's essentially no loss of load through shifts either. So you get really good acceleration. The only thing that's slowing the car down is how big and heavy it is. But automatic transmissions are actually great for straight line acceleration.
They are. Oh yeah.
I mean, that's why most real drag cars have automatics, not manuals. When shopping for tow arms, there are 2 types listed: Motorsport and Density. What are the differences? Okay, so
we
all of our Density products are basically the upgraded factory version, but typically with just stiffer rubber.
So in this case, it's a little different. I think he's talking about the rears.
Well,
like
I'm speaking
an MQB or V8 rear.
Yeah.
So which is either
Well, this is the factory
this.
bushing.
This is our version of our density
This is still
factory
density.
bushing.
We
Yeah,
just
this
put
is
a
density.
threaded stud on the factory bushing so that it's adjustable.
So that one's basically a rod end with our bushing tech put into it.
It's factory style bushing with stiffer rubber put into this rod end.
Greased.
Yeah, it is.
Put into the rod end architecture. So we can now take a factory style bushing and thread it in and out. The benefit of that is you can get adjustable
Camber on the toe for the toe.
This is a camber, not toe. But we have the same thing on our toe arms as well. So you can get adjustable camber or toe.
It's the same bushing on them.
But it's still factory bushing, so you get the factory style bushing, stiffer, but you get the NVH benefits.
Yep.
And these don't wear out nearly as often as rod ends
Right.
or sphericals.
Yep. So yeah, then the track sport version,
Yeah.
this gets replaced with a.
So the
with a
motorsport
the
stuff
spherical.
is all spherical Heims. I don't know if we have any of those
No,
kicking
I was
around, but so whenever you see density, it's a product that integrates factory style rubber bushings but stiffer. And then motorsport, we're going to get rid of all the rubber, and motorsport should always be a spherical solid connection.
You should put that last question up, Nick, from Instagram.
Motorsport is great if you're concerned about all outright performance, and if you're tracking the car a lot or it's a race car. And we recommend our density products or our Dynamic Plus products for more street driven cars that are also concerned about NVH as well. So
I'll put the other.
That one's good too.
all right. What happened to the video angle with them beefy calves?
Sorry,
I guess we're trying to focus more on.
we got demonetized on
Yeah.
YouTube, so we had to adjust it.
How does someone know if there are updates available for tuning?
This comes up. Yeah, we're working on trying to get it better. It's right now we don't have a good notification system other than we do try and post on our customer group on Facebook, and if there's a specific issue, we'll try and reach out individually.
We're getting better about that. Nick's putting together an email program.
Yeah.
The email will.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna do a release on the launch control for the B8 when
Yeah.
that's ready, and we're working on providing a more formal stream to you guys to get the updates out, what the updates are.
But I mean, just keep an eye on our social media, and we're posting about it there.
Yep.
And also, I mean, feel free to log into your account every once in a while and see if anything's new in there. That's not our preferred method for you to find out, but
Right.
You do always have access to the files that.
Oh yeah, if there's updates, you're gonna see them on your portal. We don't do updates per box code per customer. So if we've got updates out that we're working on or pushed to the server, you will see it on your flashing.
You don't have to ask for these updates; they
Right.
just show up in your account, and then you may not know it. So
Right.
check in every once in a while. Feel free to regularly if you'd like.
Yep.
Need to know about lowering springs. Hope it's different than H&R, which is bouncing and totally horrible for the car. I took them off, but I still want to lower my car.
So that was a 8VRS3 question.
That was okay. So we love to talk about our Dynamic Plus lowering springs. And actually, your experience is the whole reason we got into springs. We had a 996 turbo in about 2012. And so I went out, and I can't remember if they were Eibach or H&R, but I just wanted to lower. I liked the way the car handled. I liked the way it rode. I just wanted to lower the car a little bit so it would look better, and I assumed that there would be better performance as well. And so I bought these. I think they were Eibach, but they could have been H&R.
I can't remember.
And we put them on the car, and the car was. And I kept the factory shocks, which it's a Porsche 911 turbo shock. I mean, it's going to be It's a Sachs factory premium quality shock and strut, and the car was literally dangerous to drive. It was, like you said,
Just
it was
crashy,
bouncing.
bouncy.
And so whatever
It was too dumped. It was
the company did, it was too low, and the springs were way too stiff for the factory dampers.
when they just stacked. Like you'd get into full coil bind on the things. It was-
Well, yeah, I mean the spring, the essential stiffness of the spring was really high because the coils would bottom out on each other. So I ripped them off, and I ended up going a totally different route. And it was just like, man, and in our service department we would install lowering springs, and they would many of them would turn out like this. So the first spring that we did was what was it?
8VS3, I think.
8VS3 was the very first spring, and we had a similar experience with customers with that car. So we decided we're going to do a lowering spring that's optimized for the factory dampers because they're great. Even factory S3 MagRide shocks and struts they're world-class products. I mean, they're like $1,000 each if you want to buy them. They're not throwing Monroe shocks on these things. And we in-house engineered a spring option that was optimal. And we actually took our car to the European Car Grand Prix. And on the streets of Willow Springs, we went faster than every other car there, and that was in the competition on our springs with stock shocks and struts
Yep.
on an S3.
And that's
our
with,
car,
that's with standardized tires
our
across
car
the line.
handled better, and it had our rear sway bar, but our car handled better than every other car there on the streets of Willow. And that was a huge confirmation to us that we were doing something right. So then we now have a full line of springs. We've taken that same concept and applied it to pretty much every new model that's come out that we've developed products for.
Yep.
We now have B8 S4,
B9.
TTRS, B9 A4, B9 S4. We have separate springs for the A4, the S4.
Yep. The S3.
We
the
have separate
RS3, the Golf
springs
R.
for the TTRS, separate springs for the RS3. We have separate springs for the Golf R. We have Mark 7 GTI. We have all these applications now.
Yep.
So we will guarantee you, whoever asks this question, that if you put our springs on and you have good factory shocks and struts, that you will love our suspension. It will lower your car a reasonable amount. You won't experience tire rub. You won't be bottoming out. Your car will handle as well as it ever has. It will ride good. And the important thing is your tire will always stay on the ground. So the car won't bounce. It won't be over dampened. It won't be under dampened. You'll improve your center of gravity. All the benefits you want. And I
With
drove
these-
on those
yeah,
springs.
with these
Nate
ma-
drove on
with some of
them,
these
we've
mag ride
all driven.
cars, it can actually be less bouncy, less. Well, it is less bouncy. It's
Well, actually, the mag
the
ride
mag
cars
ride stuff-
bounce in sport mode.
yeah, in sport mode on especially the US
Yeah.
setup.
So
they're pretty
once
crashy.
you put our springs on, the sport mode actually rides better and handles better as well. So
Another
That's our goal.
that you have to calibrate. Right.
we haven't found that's necessary. We haven't found that you need to recalibrate your mag ride. You can, if
certainly
you want, but we haven't seen a need for it. If we thought there was any benefit, we would implore
It
you
would
to
be a
do it. We
required
would give
step
you
on the installation
instructions
instructions,
and
yeah.
everything. So this is a rumor that's propagated. I don't know why it keeps going, but the mag ride does not need to be recalibrated. The mag ride is a adaptive system that can account for this relatively small change in the spring that we make to it. So, but yeah, so please check out our Dynamic Plus springs. They are, we believe, the best option on the market, and we certainly believe they're a more curated, specialized solution for the car you have.
Yeah.
And I think the big problem with H&R and Eibach is they come out with one spring for the whole range of cars. So they have one spring for the B8 range. And that means for the A4 and the S4, it's the same. Even though they have different shocks and struts between the two cars, even though there's different weights on the front of the car, even though the cars weigh different amounts, they have different tires under them. They have different springs from the factory, but these aftermarket companies just come out with one version. And of course, they're the big brands that everyone recognizes, and they end up selling a lot more springs than we do. But we believe that the people that buy our springs are getting a better product and are ultimately happier with what they get.
That can actually be driven.
Yeah.
Get 3 minutes.
We got 3 minutes. All right. Let's see. How long does it take to flash a stage 1 tune on a Mark 6 GTI? Half an
Those, yeah, for the first flight, yeah, I'd say between 20 minutes and 30 minutes total. So yeah, budget about that for the first flash.
Someone's asking, any updates on Mark 7 GTI density line motor mounts? Mine keep failing. If you've had any issues, please email us. We have made a change recently in the mounts, and the rate of failure was quite low, but we did have too much from what we would consider acceptable. As like a few percent of the mounts would contact us for warranty concerns. So shoot an email to contact at 034 Motorsport. They will definitely discuss with you. We stand behind all our products. Doesn't matter when you bought it. We'll definitely take care of you, and certainly for anyone else out there. Now they are rubber mounts. They will wear out. So if you have 30,000 miles of hard use on them and they've loosened up, we may not warranty that, but we'll definitely talk to you about it, and we'll always
If it's something wrong, we'll
if it's
address
a
it.
premature failure for sure, but we'll always try to work something out with you guys. We want to be reasonable. Any flex fuel for the S3? Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah, it's in our concept pool. Be adding more and more flex fuel to these setups. So.
We're working on flex fuel actively. So
Yep.
Tempted.
We
all right,
gotta
so,
start bailing out.
we have one more question we'll save for next week, and I think that last question we already answered.
Yep.
So thanks again for joining us. We really appreciate the questions. We appreciate the discussion. We appreciate the trust you put in us. We don't take that lightly. We're here to serve you guys, and it's an honor for us to get to do this for a living. So thanks again for joining us, and we will see you next Monday. Have a great week.